5. Michigan's Attorney General says her team has busted a retail fraud ring who stole millions.
It involves stolen data from California and Sam's Club stores right here in Metro Detroit. So let's bring in Pamela Osborne. She's working the story for us tonight. Pamela, help explain how this all worked.
This group was somehow able to electronically swipe the data off of 8,000 EBT cards. I want to show you some video now. We were just able to confirm that this search warrant, which is took place last Wednesday in connection to this ring at Mark's Liquor Store on Springwells in Southwest Detroit, was one of 8 locations searched as part of this huge investigation.
This is the first of what we believe will be many to come large-scale criminal enterprises.
Attorney General Dana Nessel announcing today her office, in conjunction with Michigan State Police, arrested 39-year-old Travis Newby, 23-year-old Darian Williams, both of Detroit, and 47-year-old Vanessa Williams of Highland Park in a massive food stamp fraud enterprise.
It was determined that several individuals were entering Detroit area Sam's Clubs and making purchases with fraudulent EBT cards.
8,000 cardholders had their information stolen by the group, which made $4 million in purchases at Sam Club stores throughout Metro Detroit. From there,
the merchandise travels and might end up, might begin in Michigan, might go to another state. Oftentimes, of course, will end up being sold online.
Nessel says it's part of a bigger problem, with retail fraud costing the country $45 billion a year, our state alone accounting for $1 billion of that. The AG says the newly formed task force, which investigated, isn't done yet.
Let today's announcement serve as a warning for anyone attempting to commit these crimes in Michigan.
The 3 people arrested were charged with felony charges, and there could be more arrests that could take place in the coming days. That's based in part by some of the evidence that they were able to get as part of those search warrants.
Stealing money from people's food stamps debit cards.
That is just ridiculous. New York City is calling it a widespread problem. So has it happened to you? Eyewitness News investigative reporter Kristen Thorne is here with what you need to know.
Shanae and Dave, the city says in the last month it has received more than 18,000 claims from people who have had their SNAP benefits and or their cash assistant benefits stolen off their EBT cards. And how this is all happening, they say, is really disturbing. They say they've given out more than $4.5 million in refunds to people. Now, remember, that is taxpayer money. So what is going on here? That is a question I have, and certainly so do the people who've had their money stolen.
Lola Johnson is not happy.
They took everything.
Neither is Lachey Simmons.
How's my money gone?
Stolen money from their state-issued benefits debit cards was one of the reasons people recently lined up outside a city office in downtown Brooklyn. They were trying to get replacement cards.
How much money are you missing?
I'm missing $160. And whoever took my money out in California only left me with $18.
Has this ever happened before?
About 3 months it's been happening.
The city believes most of the fraud is happening from skimming devices placed at merchants throughout the city. People swipe their debit cards, scammers get their card numbers and steal their money. It's happening across the country.
Where does it show that that money went?
It doesn't really say nothing. It just say that it was loaded onto the card, and as soon as it was loaded onto the card, it just got withdrawn.
I'm a little stressful because I really don't have money like that to feed myself for the whole month, and I don't know if I'm gonna get my benefits back.
Have they ever given you a refund of this money that's been stolen?
Nope.
How much money do you think's been stolen?
At least 500.
The city says due to federal regulations, it was unable to refund people until recently. If you see money has been stolen on your debit card, the first thing is
you have to replace the card that's stolen. You have to report the card as stolen.
You can do that through your Connect EBT account. You'll be issued a temporary card with the money currently in your account, not the money that was stolen. For that, you have to submit a claim on the city's HRA website. If your SNAP or cash assistance benefits were stolen prior to August 21st, you have only until October 31st to submit a claim. If it happened after August 21st and moving forward, you have 30 days from the time that you become aware of the fraud to file a claim. When your refund is approved, the money will be loaded onto your new card. But the city is warning people to look out for skimming devices when using these new cards, or you could have your money stolen again. New York State put out a video on what to look for.
The easiest way to check for a skimmer is to gently pull up on the terminal. These things are flimsy, and they might come right off.
Also, always cover your hand when putting in your PIN. Some skimmers have cameras in them.
Be aware of at all times.
Okay, so don't be surprised if you don't get a full refund of your stolen money, because there are rules and procedures in place that may restrict the amount you get back. That's why it is so important to watch your account and report any fraudulent activity right away. One of the questions I had is, why isn't New York State switching to chip technology for these cards, which is much more secure and could prevent millions of dollars in taxpayer theft? The state told me that has to be decided by the USDA.
Tonight, a Covington woman is accused of stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars in a food stamp fraud case. 9 on your side's Ashley Zilka tells us about the elaborate scheme outlined by federal investigators. Ashley.
Well, Craig, court documents say Phyllis Tyler scammed the government for 3 years right inside this Covington business. The price tag, more than $400,000. Police say this woman, Phyllis Tyler, is at the center of an EBT card fraud investigation. According to court documents, Tyler would buy customers food stamp cards for half of their value in cash at A&E Fashions and Beauty Supplies. The customers could use the cash, and Tyler would use the food stamp cards at stores like this Sam's Club in Florence. Sam's Club wasn't the only place where she used the benefits. Police say she bought items here at the Kroger in Covington. According to court documents, the owner of the store is Tyler's husband. He obtained a food stamp license for his Covington business back in 2010, but he is not named in the indictment. Last year, the indictment says confidential informants sold EBT cards to Tyler for cash, and that led to the charges. Now, Tyler will be in federal court on Thursday to face these newest charges.
6 women in Allen County are responsible for stealing and misusing food stamp funds. It all started after the food stamp program mistakenly gave one of those women an extra $3,000 in her account. News Channel 15's Randy Spieth joins us live tonight from the newsroom with more. Randy?
Yeah, Mark, investigators say this happened after a power outage last summer, and that the funds were used between July and September of last year. Now the 6 women responsible are all facing felony theft charges. A probable cause affidavit says 22-year-old Dana Freeman of Fort Wayne is facing theft and corrupt business influence charges for her involvement in illegally using food stamps. It was her electronic benefit card used to pay for groceries with food stamps that received an extra $3,000 due to an error last July. That same day, the Family and Social Services Administration caught the error and asked Freeman to come to the office to fix the problem. But these court documents say she never showed up. Instead, it says over the next several weeks, Freeman and several others illegally used the extra food stamps at several stores in Fort Wayne. Some of the funds were sold to others. This document says Freeman sold $300 in food stamps to Betty Anderson for $150. Anderson is the director of the voucher program at Fort Wayne's Housing Authority.
We will do an internal investigation, not so much because we think that some of our funds may or may not be involved. I don't think that's the case at all. We have no reason to believe that.
The Housing Authority's executive director has worked with Anderson for 15 years, and he expects to discuss this issue with her when she returns to work later this week.
I don't know if the issue was correct. We believe that a person is innocent until proven guilty in this country, and that's the premise that I'm going to go forward on.
We did try to reach out to the state's Family and Social Services Administration. The spokesperson there did tell us that no one can comment while a criminal investigation is ongoing.
Food stamp program defrauded out of more than $700,000, and tonight 18 people are facing serious charges. ABC 15's Angie Holdsworth is live with the latest on this. And Angie, are police calling this a multi-layer scam involving not only food stamp recipients, but they're also looking to the retailers?
Absolutely, and you have to consider that, all these people who were indicted in this, were not necessarily working together, but they were all perpetuating the same scam. Keep in mind, Katie, that, food stamps are now on what you call almost like a debit card with a PIN number attached to it, and they basically have food credits on them. However, the recipients were selling them for cash. Hundreds of thousands of your dollars gone. Money that should have gone to feed families in the hands of criminals.
If they had $200 on their card, they would sell it for $100, let's say. So obviously for an amount less than what was on the card, but they would receive cash. They would then use that cash for whether it be drugs, alcohol. The recipient, whether it was a clerk or the business itself, would then retain the remainder that was on that card.
A nearly 2-year investigation by state and local law enforcement led to the indictment of 18 people and to 4 convenience stores.
So this morning it was just some cops pulled up, FBI and everything.
This one at 20th Street and Broadway, where one of the owners was arrested.
He's a good guy. He helps out most of the family out here in the neighborhood.
And Alvin's at 17th Street in McDowell, where an owner there was also arrested. The other 2 stores were in Phoenix and in Mesa. 9 of the 18 people indicted were arrested, a costly scam that police say on any level won't be tolerated.
If you're a recipient of a food stamp card and you're selling that card for cash, sooner or later you could ultimately be selling it to an undercover